From Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story. Rhea shares powerful life and leadership principles, helping you maximize your potential and become the woman God created you to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast designed to empower women to become the leaders they are destined to be. Today's topic is a little bit different. I often talk about leadership in the multiple dimensions, right? There's leadership of ourselves, and then there's leadership and influence with other people. Well, today's topic is really dialing into leading ourselves well, and specifically being healthier as people. So, about a year ago, our son Eric came to visit. He lives in California now. He's out there with his girlfriend, and he came home to visit. And when he was here over the couple days that he was visiting, he talked about juicing fruits and vegetables. And so Mac got pretty fired up about it because Eric was talking about how you're able to really concentrate the nutrition in it. And so Mac came back and told me about it. He's like, "Have you ever heard of this?" And I said, "Yeah, I've kind of heard of it, but I've never really done it because I'll be honest with you, I'm a vegetable eater. Like, I eat vegetables. I love salads and I love nutritious food and raw food and spinach and fruits and vegetables and things like that. And so, I thought I would have called myself a pretty healthy eater. Now, I'm not perfect by any means, certainly not. And I love to have my indulgences. But overall, I considered myself a pretty healthy eater. Not a lot of processed food, not too much junk, not too much ice cream. And so I thought, well, this juicing sounds really good for him, because Mac wasn't a big fruits and vegetables eater, and he would eat some things, but he wasn't a big, and like a lot of men, I think he was more meat and potatoes and things like that. So for years, it hasn't been unusual for me to cook two dinners. I'll cook dinner for him, and then I'll cook something differently for me. And so when Mac got interested in the juicing, I thought, oh, that's going to be great for him. That's really going to help him be more nutritious. So we did some research, and it's kind of funny, as people, the way we are, right? Like I never had, so you might never have done this either, but I'd never researched what was in a Diet Coke, right? But I would drink them, not all the time, but about one a week was kind of my Diet Coke treat. But I've never researched what was in a Diet Coke or what would be the effects of Diet Coke. But as soon as somebody talks about drinking fresh vegetable juice, then we got to go research it and see if it's healthy, right? It's almost a little irony there. But we did some research, more specifically to figure out how to do it, because it didn't take much thought to think, well, if you increase your amount of vegetables and fruits that you eat every day, you're going to also increase the amount of vitamins and nutrients and minerals that you get. So more of our research was on how do you actually do this juicing thing. And so then we bought a juicer, and our first juice wasn't that great. I think I just went to Kroger and I just bought some like carrots and some cucumbers and stuff. We just kind of threw some vegetables in the juicer and drank what came out. And we learned, there were, like everything, there was a learning curve there. We figured out some recipes and figured out the right amounts of vegetables and what we could do. But let me tell you, within a week of us drinking the juice every day, not a lot, but drinking one vegetable or fruit juice, fresh vegetable and fruit juice a day, I felt an incredible difference, specifically when I was running. Like there again, I considered myself pretty healthy. But when I was running, I could tell I felt so much better. And so that was all it took for me to be bought in 100%. So I started doing a lot more research. And, really what I realized is that our typical American diet here, we talk about, getting fruits and vegetables in, but most of us struggle with getting enough, because let's be honest, as healthy as I was last year and eating, a salad or two a day, if you were to juice if you were to eat the amount of vegetables and produce that's in an actual juice, there's no way you could eat it all. Like your tummy just couldn't hold it. So I did an experiment where I built a big, beautiful salad, like what I would typically eat. And when I say salad, I don't mean just, some romaine lettuce and a few croutons and tons of ranch dressing. The salads that I create are kale and spinach and raw tomatoes and raw vegetables, broccoli, and then I might add some olives for healthy fats and oil and vinegar, or sometimes just like salsa and avocado mashed up together. So anyway, so when I say a salad, I mean a very healthy salad, not what you're getting at Wendy's. But so I built a big, beautiful salad that was kind of the equivalent of the amount that I would eat in a salad. And then I ran that through the juicer. And the result was about 2 ounces of juice. So when I'm drinking a 16-ounce juice every day, like I do now, that's like the equivalent of 8 salads nutritionally. Except the juice is so much better, because let me tell you, I'm not eating a parsnip every day and a turnip every day and a few inches of broccoli stalk every day and then handfuls of kale. Like, I wasn't eating all of those nutrients. I was doing good on the ones that I like on my salad, but there's no way I was eating 6 carrots a day. There's just no way. And so it didn't take us long at all to realize that once we reach that kind of level of awareness, and just like leadership principles, once we reach a certain level of awareness, it's really impossible to go back and unknow what you don't know. And so we're kind of the same way now. Once we reach that level of awareness of how much healthier we could be with juicing fresh fruits and vegetables, you can't really stop doing it because the benefits are so incredible. Now, absolutely, it takes some time. It takes some time to wash everything and run it through the juicer and then wash the juicer. And it takes a little bit of money. But how much is your health worth? Right? How much is your health worth? Because here's the thing about juicing. I watched a documentary called Super Juice Me. And if this interests you, you can go to superjuiceme.com and watch the same documentary I did. There's other documentaries out there too, but superjuiceme.com was the first one that we saw that was really impactful. And the Super Juice Me documentary is it's pretty cool. They took 8 people from around the world, and between them, these people had like 60-something major diseases. I'm talking about like diabetes and Crohn's disease and COPD and just all kind of fibromyalgia and just all kind of diseases. And they were on so many medications. In fact, one gentleman on the show, on the documentary, was on 52 pills a day. And so they took them down to this retreat, and they just did 28 days of nothing but a juice fast, what's called a juice fast. And the gentleman who was taking 52 pills a day, by the end of those 4 weeks, was down to 2 pills a day. And so that made me sit up tight and go, wait a minute. He was able to get off 50-something pills in terms of medication. Because here's the thing, our bodies need fruits and vegetables. We know that. That's not anything new. Because the fruits and vegetables help us fight off things like chronic inflammation. They help us fight off lifestyle diseases. It really comes down to most of our diseases are either, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are either caused by toxicity in our diet, the things that we know we shouldn't have too much of, like sugar and caffeine, alcohol. We definitely put our bodies through some processed food and things like that. But those things are toxic. I mean, there's no way you'd feed what you eat to your pet most of the time. Not all of it, certainly. I mean, if you, and the Super Juice Me documentary uses the analogy of a goldfish in a bowl, right? If you had a goldfish in a bowl sitting on your coffee table, there's no way you'd pour Diet Coke in his bowl and not expect there to be consequences. So toxicity is one major contributor of disease in our life. And then deficiency, right? Most of us just aren't able to eat 8 salads a day. I know I wouldn't. And so really powerful documentary. But what all this comes down to is that we realized that juicing was a way to lead ourselves better. And that's pretty important, right? Because the choices that we make and how we lead ourselves determines if we even are able to lead and influence others. Now, I can tell you some things that I personally experienced. It's been not quite a year since we've been on our juicing journey. And, sometimes it's hard when we're traveling. I don't necessarily always get a juice every day, but I'm far healthier now than I was 11 months ago. And I didn't have any major lifestyle diseases, but I can tell you this, I was a major allergy sufferer. I mean, I think of my whole life, and certainly for the past 15 something years, I've taken a Zyrtec or Allegra every single day from just chronic sinus pressure, and I would get sinus infections and just, eyes always itchy and red, and it would bother my contacts, especially, during the summer and fall season. And I think I only took just a few Zyrtec at all this whole entire year. So it's been 11 months, and I think I've taken like 6 or 7 Zyrtec, and mostly I just took those because I came down with an ear infection, and they told me to take the Zyrtec and help with some of the drainage in my head. So, and I realized, I was like, you know what? I have not bought a single bottle of allergy medicine this year. Not a single one. And then I was cleaning the shower in the bathtub the other day, and I realized I haven't used my dandruff shampoo in like a whole year. And I was throwing the bottle away. I was like, I don't even need it anymore. But I also can tell a huge difference in my recovery after running. And, as someone who's active in health and fitness, and, I'm training for a marathon, that's a big deal to be able to fight inflammation naturally rather than reaching for a bottle of ibuprofen every time I want to go for a run. And, I could go on and on. Mac experienced some, definitely some positive health changes too. And there again, we weren't majorly sick. I've not been taking a lot of pills every day for a long time. But when I put all of those little things together, I thought, how much healthier am I overall? I can't even remember the last time I went to the doctor except for an annual checkup and the one random ear infection I've had. I think that's the last time I've been to the doctor in years. And we couldn't put a price on that, right? How much is it worth to you to be healthier, to not have itchy, watery eyes and sinus infections like I used to, or, just those little nagging chronic aches and pains and things like that. And Mac used to have really bad trouble with his back, and that's gotten so much better to the point that we're mountain biking more. And so I say all of this to say I've had a lot of times when we speak, we talk about leading ourselves well. And even on this podcast, until we can lead ourselves well, we don't earn the right to lead and influence other people well. But if you're like me, I didn't really know what juicing could do. I didn't really know how helpful it could be for my health. And there again, it does take some time, it does take some money, but how much is it worth to you to know that you are leading a healthier lifestyle and you'll be around longer and, be around for your grandkids, right? And not that juicing is going to cure all, fix all. There's certainly a place for medicine and things that we need. I'm not saying quit taking all medications, but if we're able to get off the chronic medications that don't really help us, and they have such a long list of toxic side effects. Have you ever looked at the side effects of the medicines that we take? It's scary. I mean, just look at the side effects of anything in your medicine cabinet, anything from Tylenol to Zyrtec or anything like that, but especially those prescription medications. And so I'm just such a firm believer now in anything we can do to be healthier and decrease anything, toxic or chemical that we're putting in our bodies. And there again, in a safe way, an effective way. Do your research, watch the Super Juice Me documentary. I'm not saying just quit taking all your medications cold turkey, but rather just consider being healthier by juicing fresh fruits and vegetables. I can tell you it's made a really powerful difference in me, and it's something I won't ever be able to quit because once you know something and realize it and really know how powerful it is for you when you do it, you can't go back. And just like any other leadership principle, when it comes to leading ourselves well, it only helps us if we do it, right? It's not enough for you to just hear me saying that juicing is a very powerful way to get more nutrients to your body concentrated. But if you don't actually look into it and then start doing it, you'll never be able to reap the benefits from it. So I know this was a little bit of a twist on a different topic, but maybe I've inspired you to just, maybe you don't want to run out and buy a juicer, but maybe watch the documentary or maybe try out your local juice bar. They're popping up all over the country because there are a lot of people who are discovering the benefits. And so there's kind of a movement toward less manufactured, produced things like that, and more fresher fruits and vegetables, visiting the farmer's market and that kind of thing. And so there's a little more of a push towards things like a healthier lifestyle and juicing. So maybe give it a try. Next time you're driving by and you see a juice bar, pop in and just try one. You may discover that you actually like them like I do. And, then you might feel inspired to take it one step further. Check out the documentary or look for a documentary on Netflix or Amazon, or even get a book, a recipe book, and play with it. But, whatever you do, it doesn't have to be a big lifestyle change, but just those little changes that we can do every day to make us healthier in the physical dimension will help us be so much more effective mentally, and we'll feel better, and we'll have better we'll have more improved relationships. Think how your relationships with your kids or grandkids improves if you're feeling better and you're not feeling bad all the time. If you're suffering from something chronic, you just don't enjoy life every day the same way as when you're not hurting. So it's definitely worth looking into, isn't it? Until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.